A single psychic scam can extract millions from even the sharpest minds. In one case, a lone woman, Madame Zora, swindled $7 million from the city's elite in just 5 years. She didn't promise to speak with the dead, but to guide the living toward greater fortunes, a tempting offer for those who already had everything. Her reputation spread quietly, whispered among the wealthy at exclusive gatherings. Zora's clients were captains of industry and socialites, convinced they'd found a secret weapon. She sold them the illusion of control in a world of uncertainty. The real shock? For years, her simple act fooled those who should have known better. Madame Zora was born Eleanor Vance, the only child of a quiet librarian and a passionate history teacher. Growing up surrounded by the scent of old books and the gentle hum of whispered stories, Eleanor's world was one of curiosity and imagination. Her parents encouraged her to ask questions, to seek out the mysteries hidden in every dusty volume and every family tale. As a teenager, she devoured books on psychology, body language, and the art of illusion, fascinated by the ways people reveal themselves without ever saying a word. She spent hours in the library, studying the subtle cues that betray a person's true feelings and learning how magicians and mentalists could manipulate perception. Her transformation to Madame Zora was no accident. It was a deliberate act of reinvention, a new accent, a carefully fabricated backstory, and a wardrobe filled with flowing silks and antique jewelry. She practiced her gestures and speech, perfecting every detail until she could slip into her new persona as easily as donning a favorite scarf. But Eleanor's real education came not from books, but from the grand homes where she worked low-level jobs for the wealthy. As a maid and a server, she moved quietly through glittering parties and hushed drawing rooms, listening to whispered confessions and observing the subtle power plays of high society. She learned what people feared, what they longed for, and how secrets could be both currency and weapon. Every evening, she would return home and practice in front of her mirror, her voice, her posture, her expressions, until the line between Eleanor and Zora blurred. She crafted her persona meticulously, rehearsing until her new identity was second nature, and her confidence grew with every performance. Her first client, a well-connected socialite with a taste for gossip and intrigue, was no accident. Eleanor had positioned herself perfectly, knowing just when to offer a sympathetic ear and a hint of mystery. A chance meeting at a lavish party, a startlingly accurate reading, and the legend of Madame Zora was born. Word of her uncanny insights spread quickly, whispered from one elite gathering to the next. Soon, Zora's parlor was filled with the city's most influential figures, all eager for a glimpse into their futures. Her reputation grew, and her business began to boom, drawing clients from every corner of high society. Her rise was as calculated as her readings. Every move, every word, was part of a carefully orchestrated plan. Madame Zora had arrived, and nothing would ever be the same. Zora's genius lay not in mystical prophecy, but in her deep understanding of human psychology. She could read a person's body language, tone, and subtle cues with uncanny precision, making her seem almost supernatural to those who sought her guidance. Her reputation as a seer was built on her ability to listen, observe, and deduce, rather than any true connection to the spirit world. She became a confidant to her clients, drawing out their deepest secrets under the comforting guise of spiritual counsel. People found themselves telling Zora things they'd never shared with anyone else, believing her to be a trusted advisor with access to otherworldly wisdom. In reality, she was simply a master at making people feel heard and understood. Her main tool was cold reading. She'd begin with broad, seemingly insightful statements that could apply to almost anyone. As her clients responded, she'd skillfully narrow her focus, picking up on their reactions and guiding the conversation to extract more personal details. Each session felt intimate and tailored, as if Zora truly saw into their souls. But Zora's real magic happened before her clients even walked through the door. She researched each one exhaustively, scouring public records, social media profiles, and any available information to gather details about their lives. This preparation allowed her to weave specifics into her readings, making her insights seem eerily accurate. Her readings were peppered with personal details that left clients stunned and convinced of her powers. They never suspected that Zora had simply done her homework, using their own digital footprints and public information to craft her revelations. Zora's predictions were always artfully vague. She spoke of windows of opportunity, potential obstacles, and shifting energies. By keeping her forecasts open-ended, she ensured she was never truly wrong, no matter what happened in her clients' lives. If things went well, Zora took credit for foreseeing success. If events turned sour, she'd gently remind her clients that she had warned them of negative energies or unseen forces at play. Either way, her reputation remained untarnished. Her credibility became bulletproof, her predictions impossible to disprove. Clients saw her as a wise and respected spiritual advisor, returning again and again for guidance. The cycle of information and belief kept her clients hooked. Each visit deepened their trust, and word of mouth brought new believers into her orbit. In the end, Zora's web was spun from the very hopes, fears, and confessions her clients brought to her. Each strand a secret, each knot a carefully crafted illusion. Zora's stage was a discreet, elegant apartment. No neon signs, just mystery. Every detail was a proplo lighting, sandalwood incense, antique crystal ball. The crystal ball wasn't for visions, but for reading clients' micro-expressions. Tarot cards were shuffled for show, their meanings tailored to each client's reactions. If a card worried a client, Zora spun it as a sign of positive change. Her appearance, flowing fabrics, heavy jewelry, reinforced her mystique. Even the tea and music were part of the act, designed to disarm skepticism. The entire experience was immersive theater, not fortune-telling. Clients left convinced they'd glimpsed the supernatural. In reality, they'd been expertly manipulated. Zora's greatest trick was making belief feel exclusive. Zora's clients were powerful, intelligent, and utterly captivated. In her presence, their confidence melted into childlike faith. A real estate mogul relied on her for every major deal, amazed by her insights that were really just public knowledge. An actress sought reassurance about her career, clinging to Zora's vague predictions. For the wealthy, Zora offered a sense of control where money couldn't buy certainty. Her fees were trivial to them, an insurance policy against the unknown. They weren't buying predictions, they were buying confidence. The illusion was so valuable, they never questioned its source. Zora's true product was belief itself. Zora's predictions were masterful blends of research and ambiguity. She spent hours studying her clients, gathering subtle clues from their conversations, social media, and even the way they dressed. Her insights were never truly supernatural, but rather the result of careful observation and a deep understanding of human nature. By weaving together facts and open-ended statements, she created the impression of uncanny foresight. She advised a tech entrepreneur to launch in the third quarter, really just sound business timing, disguised as astrology. Her advice always seemed tailored, yet it was based on trends and common sense, not the stars. Zora's recommendations were often so broad that they could apply to almost anyone, but her delivery made them feel personal and profound. Her warning of betrayal? A safe bet in any high-stakes industry. In competitive environments, suspicion and shifting alliances are inevitable. By predicting betrayal, Zora tapped into universal anxieties, making her seem insightful when in reality she was simply playing the odds. When events matched her words, clients saw prophecy, not probability. They overlooked the times she was wrong, focusing only on the moments that seemed to confirm her abilities. This selective attention reinforced their belief in her powers. Zora also made retroactive predictions, convincing clients she'd foreseen their successes all along. She would subtly rewrite history, reminding clients of things she predicted after the fact, making her track record appear flawless. Confirmation bias did the rest. Clients remembered the hits, forgot the misses. They unconsciously filtered out her mistakes, focusing only on the moments that seemed to validate her insight. She'd mention a man with an M or a journey by water. Any match became proof of her powers. These vague references were like fishing lines cast wide, waiting for someone to bite. Dozens of vague statements ensured something would stick. The more she said, the more likely it was that clients would find meaning in her words, even if it was only in hindsight. The illusion of insight was built on selective memory and clever storytelling. Zora's real talent was her ability to weave a narrative that made people feel seen and understood, even when her predictions were little more than educated guesses. Zora's real magic was making coincidence feel like destiny. Through a mix of psychology, performance, and a touch of showmanship, she transformed ordinary moments into something extraordinary, leaving her clients convinced they'd witnessed the impossible. Zora's downfall began with a skeptic, the mogul's data analyst's son. He noticed her visions matched public news and filings, not supernatural insight. A private investigator traced Zora's past, exposing Eleanor Vance and her fabricated persona. The final test, the mogul fed Zora a fake business plan. She repeated the invented details in her next vision, proving she relied on client confessions, not clairvoyance. The evidence was undeniable. The illusion shattered, and Zora's web unraveled. Her clients realized they'd been conned by their own desire to believe. The truth was as simple as it was devastating. The exposure was swift and humiliating. The mogul confronted Eleanor in a lawyer's office. Her accent and bravado vanished. Former clients pressed charges, seeking to reclaim millions. The media reveled in the scandal, how the elite were duped by a master con artist. Eleanor faced a lengthy legal battle, lost her fortune, and was convicted of fraud. For her clients, the damage was personal, public embarrassment, shattered reputations, and strained friendships. Some denied their involvement. Others claimed it was all for entertainment. The affair left a scar on their social circle, a reminder that no one is immune to deception. The trust that built Zora's empire became a source of shared shame. The lesson was harsh, but unforgettable. Eleanor Vance's story is a lesson in the power of belief and the danger of unchecked desire for certainty. Even the most successful people crave reassurance about the future. Zora sold peace of mind, not prophecy. Her real skill was exploiting psychological needs. Her methods were classic, cold reading, vague prophecies, and modern research. The internet made her deceptions easier, turning digital footprints into psychic insight. The tale is a reminder. Skepticism is essential, especially when answers seem too perfect. Anyone can be vulnerable to a well-crafted illusion. The best way to predict the future? Hard work, sound judgment, and a healthy dose of reality.